The COVID-19 pandemic has impacted small businesses across the country. State officials and residents have rallied behind these shops, restaurants, and other services by launching campaigns to buy local. Tonight, Bureau Chief Anna Cui shares with us how the pandemic has taught small business owners in Las Vegas to recover quickly from the damage it has brought. Anna.
Thank you, Philip. Yes, last year was full of unprecedented challenges for everyone due to the pandemic, especially to small local businesses across the country. We saw many of them enduring months of uncertainties as local governments announced changes and restrictions through the several surges of COVID-19 cases. We also saw businesses that, did not do well, unfortunately, since the pandemic started and ended up closing their doors, some temporary and others for good. Las Vegas was actually reported to rank third overall in metro areas with the highest combined rates of temporary and permanent closures of businesses, behind Honolulu and San Francisco. And that's according to data released by Yelp in late last year. Statewide numbers in that same report showed Nevada topping the list for permanent closures with 10.1 per 1,000 businesses. Now, among all business sectors, the restaurant industry was the hardest hit, followed by retail and shopping, according to Yelp. Fortunately, financial assistance from both the federal and local government were made available to small business owners to survive the pandemic, including the Paycheck Protection Program loan and other pandemic-related grants. Nevada Governor Steve Sisolak actually just signed a bill Friday, Philip, which provided an additional $50 million for small businesses through the Pandemic Emergency Technical Support, or PETS, grant program. This latest bill brings total funding for the program to more than $100 million since the start of the pandemic, making it the largest small business assistance program in Nevada history, according to the release statement from the governor's office. And for some, Philip, I'm sure you've heard, also there in Georgia, some businesses, money help like that from the government or either locally or federally kept their business going. And this is true for one Dr. Joseph Fandavita, owner of Eyes of Las Vegas, who took advantage of the PPP loan last year. He told me that it helped him keep his employees and keep his business going. I also talked to another business owner, Oming, who owns Oming's Kitchen here in town. We talked about how she started her business and how she weathered the pandemic storm. Take a look.
So I started as one of the food trucks. I think there were only 32 food trucks when it started. I really just wanted to introduce the Filipino food, the part of me. I'm a huge fan of sinugba, which is another word for grilled.
She talked about her business strategy and her simple goals.
The Americans know everything about Thai food, Japanese food, all the Asian dishes, but why not Filipino? So that's when I came up with a very simple menu, which is the lumpia, the pork, and the chicken. I just wanted to make $200 every day because I used to make $200 and at least I didn't have to work with anyone and still trying to find out about me and where I'm headed.
Oming launched her food truck in 2014, and with much success, she opened her brick and mortar in August 2019. Just a shy of 6 months before the pandemic hit in early 2020.
All I could think was, oh my gosh, what is this? I was really scared, and I'm like, okay, with all this news, you just get paranoid, you get scared. And so I decided when the governor announced we need to shut down, I shut down for a whole month and a half, I think almost 2 months now.
But like other local businesses, Oming knew she had to reopen her business somehow. And through her resilience, she adapted her business practices amidst the new set of restrictions related to the pandemic.
So when I opened back up in May, I didn't bring any of my employees because I didn't announce that we opened. I just sat here, I did an online ordering, and I would tell them go order online. I lost customers because some of them, they didn't really know how to do the online ordering. But I couldn't take the risk. I didn't want to handle cash. So maybe after a month, I brought my customers back because we were slowly picking up. That I needed to bring one of my employees one at a time. So that's what we did. So, but for a whole month, I cooked, I prepped, I cleaned, I did everything.
Despite the challenges, her simple goals remained her focus.
So with the whole pandemic thing, I just wanted to cover the rent. I had no employees. So in my head, the same way in the beginning where I said I just wanted to make $200 to compensate what I make, the same thing I said to myself, if I can just make certain amount, let's just say if I make $300 a day for 7 days, actually 6 days because I needed a day break. For 6 days, I do $1,800, which is that's almost $7,000, $8,000, $9,000, right? I can cover my rent, my electricity, and that's all that it is.
And as the pandemic went on, Oming continued to thrive, found hope in the community she loves, and found a newfound joy in helping others.
I kept one employee. So it was just me and him for another 2 months. So fine, I was increasing because during the pandemic, people wanted to support small businesses. I partner with one of the hospital who I've been doing business with, and the Asia Night Market. So we partnered with them. We actually donated 100 meals, and I didn't want to donate just pork and rice or the lumpia. So I said to myself, I'm gonna make the nurses happy. So I call that the happy plate. Hence, it stayed in our menu because it became very popular. So it was hard for us to get the grant because my sales was the moment I opened back up in May, it went up and up and up, and I got just very busy. So with the pandemic, really, I call it a blessing.
I asked Oming what motivated her to keep going through the good and bad circumstances that came with the pandemic.
I'm a people person. And for me, it's not about money. You know, it was when I opened the food truck, it was never about money. And even with the pandemic, when we were slowing down before, I never cut hours. Hindi ako nagka-cut ng hours, ate. I don't care what the sales are, I'd eat it up. Because they need a job. You know what I mean? They're depending on me. So it was not about money. It just happens that I'm blessed. It comes back to me more than what I put out there.
While the pandemic continues to drive uncertainty in the economy, fourth quarter data demonstrates early evidence of an economic recovery, according to Yelp's 2020 annual report. And Oming can attest to that.
I have customers from the north side, from the east side, and from Summerlin, and Summerlin. Some of them come here and they're like, hey, Oming, this is too far. And Clark County is one of my biggest customers. So I wanted to be in the middle of everyone. So yes, I am opening a second location. It'll probably get done this year or maybe in 6 months.
And finally, here are some last words Oming wanted to share.
So every hardship that I went through, all I could think is I can make this. I can make it work one way or the other. I'm very persistent. I always have faith that I'm gonna make it, and I never give up. I'm not the type of person who likes to give up. A lot of my customers' feedback is they're happy to see me here. They're happy that I talk to them, and I'm shy. I'm a shy person, but also when customer ask me something, I give them my whole truth.
Vegas, Anna Kui, Eagle News. We live in interesting times. Back to you, Philip.
Thanks, Anna, so much for that report. It's just really inspiring to see. You know, we hear lots of challenges and troubles, you know, with the pandemic through the whole, almost a whole year that we've been going through this. But, it's just incredible to see the resilience of small business owners like Oming. And thank you so much for sharing that with us tonight.